So today we are going to discuss the histology of the oral cavity as well as the lip. Before we discuss the histology of the oral cavity as well as the lip, we are going to discuss the some anatomical aspect of this both the structures. In this model, we have the mid-sagittal section of the oral cavity. So this area is referred as the oral cavity. Now above there is the presence of this hard palate, below there is the presence of tongue as well as the mandible. Now this oral cavity that is lined by the oral mucosa, which is having the stratified squamous non-keratinized type of the epithelium. Okay. Remember, stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium except at the region of the gums or the alveolar processes of the respective bones. This epithelium is going to be replaced by the keratinization. Again, this epithelium is loosely attached with the underlying structure of the oral cavity, the muscles as well as the another connective tissue. But at some point that is firmly attached or abundantly attached with the underlying structure. That structure is the palate, okay, as well as the alveolar processes of the respective bones. Here this mucosa is firmly attached with the periosteum of the respective bone, so that is helpful to avoid minimum movement. Okay, so that is giving stabilization, and in rest of the part this mucosa is loosely attached with the underlying structures of the oral cavity, particularly in the cheek, so that is giving the mobility. So in the cheek, and this oral mucosa is more movable and separated from the rest of the structures by the presence of the elastic tissue as well as the adipose tissue. That is something regarding the oral cavity. Now we are moving towards the lip. Now in layman's language, in routine language, what we are referring the lip is differ from the definition of the anatomical lip. Normally what we are referring the lip is the area when the lipstick or the lip balm is applied. So this is one of the portion of the anatomical lip. Still there are two another portions of the lip apart from this layman's lip. So first we will see this area which is termed as the layman's lip. This is medically known as the vermilion zone or the transitional zone. Okay. Now the first portion there of the lip that is lying outside onto the external aspect, this much region is referred as the external surface of the skin, which is having the presence of hair follicles as well as the sweat and the sebaceous gland. Now this portion is continuous with this vermilion zone at this junction that is referred as a mucocutaneous junction or the red margin. This vermilion zone that is lined by the modified skin, outer surface that is lined by the skin, and this vermilion zone that is lined by the modified skin. Now what is the difference between the skin and modified skin that you have to remember? The epithelium is different. Here in the skin, the epithelium is of the stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. Here the epithelium is of stratified squamous parakeratinized type of the layer. The difference between the keratinized and the parakeratinized is that in the topmost layer of the epithelium, in the keratinized type of the epithelium, there is a absence of nuclei within the cell. But in the parakeratinized epithelium, there is a topmost cells, they are containing the nuclei. Apart from that epithelium, okay, the underlying tissue there is an absence of the sweat and sebaceous gland in the modified skin, and there is a presence of the sebaceous as well as the sweat glands as well as the hair follicles in the skin region. Now the third portion, last portion, the remaining portion of the lip that is lying in connection with the oral cavity, this much area, that is termed as the internal surface of the lip, and that is lined by the oral mucosa, which is having the epithelium of stratified squamous keratinase. Okay, so this epithelium is the stratified squamous non-keratinase type of the epithelium. Next, we are moving towards the front aspect of the face. Okay, here you can see the various parts of the lip. The topmost portion seeing here, that is the external surface of the skin, that is lined by the stratified squamous keratinase type of the epithelium. This portion is continuous with the vermilion zone, okay, which is lined by the modified skin at the point here, and that is termed as the mucocutaneous junction. The inner aspect of the lip we cannot see with the closed oral cavity. Okay, for that there is an opening of mouth is required. Next, we are going to see the schematic diagram of the lip. As we have already discussed, the lip has three portions, three subdivisions. This is the skin, this is the vermilion zone, and this one is the inner aspect, internal surface. So this outer portion that is lined by the skin, so that is having the stratified squamous keratinase type of the epithelium. Along with that epithelium you will find the hair follicles as well as the pilosebaceous unit. In that you will find the sebaceous gland, okay, and this is the sweat glands. Okay, so this is the outer portion. Then this is the vermilion zone, transitional zone, okay, and underneath this you will find the numerous amount of the blood vessels that is mainly responsible for the pink color of the lip, and the lining of this zone, that is by the modified skin, which is parakeratinase, topmost layer having the nucleus, unlike the keratinase layer which is having absence of nuclei in the top layer. Apart from the numerous amount of the blood vessels underneath the epithelium, there is the absence of the sweat as well as the sebaceous gland underneath this vermilion zone, that is going to responsible for the cracking of the lip. So more cracking happen in this area, vermilion zone, during the dry weather because of the absence of the underlying sebaceous and sweat glands. The third portion, that is the internal surface or the inner zone, that is lined by the stratified squamous non-keratinase type of the epithelium, and this epithelium is somewhat thicker as compared to rest of the epithelium, having multiple layers, so that is giving more thickness to this epithelium, as well as the dermal papillae lying here, that is showing the more heightened shape. So more heightened, more up and downs will be seen in the dermal papillae, so that is giving the firm attachment of this epithelium towards the underlying structure. And this heightened dermal papillae, also known as the Rete ridge system. Under this epithelium you will find the glands also, that is termed as the labial glands, okay? And now the central portion or the core of the lip, that is formed by the striated muscle fibers, okay, you can see here striated muscle fibers, that is by the orbicularis oris muscles. Okay, so that is something regarding the schematic aspect of the lip. Now, to remember the histology of the lip, you can correlate the structure of the lip with the vada pav. So in that, this is the top layer that is having the external surface that is lined by the skin, which is having the hair follicles, sebaceous, sweat glands, and the epithelium is of the stratified squamous keratinized type of the epithelium. Now this junctional zone that is referred as a vermilion zone having the modified skin, stratified squamous parakeratinized of the type of the epithelium is seen, presence of the nuclei on the top layer, okay, and this is the internal inner surface of the lip, which is lined by the oral mucosa showing the stratified squamous non-keratinized type of the epithelium, and this is somewhat thicker as compared to this region due to the more layers within the epithelium. Okay, and the remaining portion, that is the central core material, the filling material, that is in the form of the glands, muscles, vessels, and hair follicles. So this is something regarding the theoretical aspect of the histology of the lip as well as the oral cavity. We will discuss the microscopic view as well as the identification points of the histology of the lip in a next video. Thank you very much for watching.